And hello to all my Gemini friends. I'd like to welcome you in. My name is Scott Sagent, and today I'll be doing your free Psychic Tarot reading for June 2023. Now today they have dialed up for my great Geminis, a storyline spread. Storyline spread is a great spread for general readings because it casts a very wide net across the entire sign of Gemini. We're going to be telling different stories for different Geminis going through different situations, sometimes 3, 4, or 5 different stories if spirit is very chatty for different Geminis, and we're going to find the story in here that is right for you. I've had people tell me that sometimes multiple stories do and will resonate with them, but at the end of the day, it's all about finding the story that is right for you, and we're going to do that today, Gemini. And they've asked that I conclude your reading with a fun one. It's called a Telling Time. It's actually, I just released that as a brand new product on my website, so it is available for that as well. You guys get a free sampling of that today with Telling Time. Now that looks at a window of time. Usually it's in the future. So something later in this year, it's basically a year out from now. So later this year or early 2024, something very important that they want to let you Geminis know. We're also going to conclude your reading with the runestone, and that'll bring us all together into this reading that we call June 2023. Now we're going to get started right now, guys. The cards are already shuffled. I do that ahead of time to save us all a bunch of time. And now I'm going to bring you in the overhead view so you can watch. I'd like to share my table with you, show you what I'm working with. There we go. We are on and recording. What I'm doing now, Gemini, these are my ritual cuts, basically cutting each deck into thirds, putting them back together in a separate order. That satisfies the ritual aspect of tarot. It is the same procedure for personal private readings, so it's just like you're here with me now. So the storyline spread, best part about it can be about anything. They can go from one story about love, one story about work, and jumping all around to health, whatever they want to do here. Now the storyline spread, though, is going to start with 5 cards. These are your base core 5 cards. And that's actually going to be my end right there. This deck is great at facing, so we get kind of simpler, more concise storylines here. And I know that because this last person here is looking back inwards. That brackets me off like that. That's a stop order from Spirit saying, hey, Scott, we are good. We have enough information right here. Now, we do have a lot blocked there. We have actually 4 out of the 5 blocked, so I'm going to do a discard right now to see if Spirit wants to upright the whole thing. And they do. So since we're going to do that, we're not going to do that individually by stories because we already did it. And now I need to get the facings together to get together the stories, how many stories we're going to be working with here for you guys. This is coming together actually here too, and then we got 2 standalones. We're going to be looking at 3 stories. It's going to look like this. I do need more card work, so I'm going to get that right now. Page, let's see if that's a person or the energy. They said energy. We're still going to leave it on the table. Over here, the Magician, it's a major arcana card. It's going to get 2 to describe it. There we go. And also an angel card, which we'll get in a second. And this might be off screen a little bit here for you guys, but I'll show you in a second. Empress card gets 2, because that's also a major arcana card. I'm going to move it up here. Once I got my stories together, it doesn't matter where I move them around to, because they're already kind of married together, married up there. So I believe, yes, we are good. Okay, just an Oracle Angel for every story, and we're ready to go, ready to roll. I just got to show you on the screen, make sure you guys can see it. Yep. Okay, that is going to be it. Let's show you. Let's get to work. All right, so I'm going to kind of do this right to left. I'm going to start with this one as story 1. It's going to be story 1. All the way over here. We're going to go up here to story 2. Story 2 right there. And wrap up with your largest one. Story 3. All right, Gemini, let's do it. Let's see what we have for my great Geminis in June, shall we? Story 1, guys. Okay. You know, they're kicking it off pretty strong here with the Magician card. This is my premier manifester of the universe, putting things together in weird ways, and just you can make magic happen. It's really what it means. It means all things magical right now. So if that sounds like you, things are on the up and up, and you're making it happen, Gemini, this could very well be you here with me in story 1. That's what they start with, and it's also a reminder here to let you know that you are a premier manifester yourself. So don't just kind of believe you're in a good spot just by luck, just by chance. No, that's silly nonsense. You created this. This is your world that, everybody else is living in, Gemini. This is all about you here. The magician, manifesting, co-creating with your consciousness, with the power of that. So that is a very good thing to see. Keep doing all the good work there, because you can really attract some great things. That's actually very new moon energy, which we'll talk about momentarily when we get to your moon cycles. But let's keep going with the story. They show the devil card on invert. So a lot of that's been coming in for Gemini the last few months. Getting the devil off your back, that is something that's got you binded up here, a little bound up. Could be a bad habit. For some people, that's what it is. But here they're showing breaking free from that. So if you Geminis have a bad habit to kick, this is a good time to do it. And it's almost like a replacement, it feels like to me. It doesn't feel like you're just getting rid of something like cold turkey. It feels like you're getting one thing out and you're bringing something new in. Maybe it's something to kind of alleviate that whatever addiction or whatever that was giving to you, that emotional kick or that mental kick. Just replacing it, basically, long story short. And that's what they show a lot of you doing here in the month of June. Okay, so this is the way we want to see the devil card. We want to see it on invert like this. It's basically saying breaking free from these shackles, breaking free from the things that bound you up before. Nice little freedom card here in June, so you guys can do it. Keep going at it. They actually show it's going to be easier than you think. You can absolutely do this because they show victory after that. So this is kind of like Spirit's empowerment story, if you will, for a lot of my Geminis who have done a good job and need to continue doing so. You guys can just make it happen here very effortlessly too, is what they're saying. You have the magic wand. You know what? Good thing to see. And with victory, it says your prayers have been heard and answered, and to have a little bit of faith. So you got to do your part here too, which means have faith it's going to work, but you still got to put in the work to get done what you're trying to get done. Okay, so very strong start there for Gemini. There's story one. Story 2, we're going to go up top here. Story 2 kicks off with the Empress card, my divine feminine. This is the fertile ground card. This is a nice little slope here that June is presenting for my Story 2 folks. And it's also a lighter energy card that's a little bit more feminine vibe here. So this is more, if it was an activity, it would be described as like yoga, gardening, something a little softer edge there. And the Empress card for some people can mean the divine feminine, like it's very fertile, like actual, can conceive, can have babies. Some people having babies, and Gemini's, getting pregnant, having babies, and avoiding that if that's something you don't want, because Gemini's, the ground is very fertile. And when the ground is very fertile, I don't know if they're talking about like physical world very fertile, or if they're just talking about ideas fertile, or what. But, for my audience here, this is a wonderful thing to see, regardless of which version this hits you on here, Gemini. It's basically saying that the fields are ready. It's like, what seeds are you going to sow? What are you going to plant? What are you going to grow? What are you going to do in June? You can really grow what you want here. Long story short, we have social camaraderie here coming in next. That's an interesting push here, because that is basically saying, reacquainting with old friends in the month of June, seeing people you haven't seen in a while, going out and having fun and doing fun things. And even, that can even be family. Anybody close to your heart really can come in with that. So it shows the 3, maybe going out in a group of 3. Doesn't mean it's going to be specifically just 3, but that is what a lot of my audience, that's what they want to talk about. It's what Spirit's bringing up. So we have a good social kick there. And keep that in balance. I feel like you Geminis are. You're either not doing too much fun, and, you got to have a little bit of fun. Don't be boring, sitting in the house all the time. You got to get out and live a little bit, but not overboard. That's what they're saying. Get that nice balance here, Gemini. Get out there. Now, they also show the Emperor card here, so another strong push. And here they're saying, be authoritative. It is the month to be fierce and to be strong, Gemini. You got to be the boss here. Now, what do you need to be the boss of? That is the question. OF. What do you need to be the boss of, Gemini? What do you need to get authoritative about and stand your ground and get done? Or whether this is a project you got to wrap up, or whether this is putting your foot down at work, or whatever this is, taking authority over your health corner and your love corner, or whatever it is for you. That's what they show you doing here for my Story 2 folks. And they do show next taking back your power with Oracle Angel cards. So it's basically saying use your God-given power and intention to manifest blessings into your life. Where did we hear that before? Well, manifest in Story 1. So you can see that this is the web that they weave, and this is how you can do a general reading and be so accurate for so many different stories, even though there's lots of moving parts. So we have a common thread there of manifesting for my Geminis in Story 1 and Story 2. So taking back your power also kind of teases at the idea here that a lot of you forfeited your power maybe before, maybe not anymore, maybe previously, last month, last year, whenever back it goes. It's relevant now because now you're taking it back. So step up, Gemini. Nice fertile area for you to do it. Good ground to work with. Good things can happen. Now, before I get into your story 3 and get the big one here done for you, I do need to cut away to tell you about the moon cycles because manifestation has been a big kick for Gemini. So pay a lot of attention to when that new moon hits because that is when you can manifest the strongest. And then I'll be right back with your story 3. Okay guys, it is moon cycle forecast time. We have a pretty simple set of moon cycles for this summer, June and July, and we start getting into some larger lunar events in August. But first, here's the transition to how things are moving, because the new moon is starting to move up. It's already pretty much smack dab in the middle of the month, and the full moon also moving up is right at the beginning of the month. But pretty soon, that full moon is going to drop to the end of the month, and the new moon is going to keep moving up until it's at the beginning of the month. That's happening very quickly. But first, in June, we have the full moon that comes in first, and that hits on June 3rd. This is the best time to get anything out of your life that you don't want there. Whether it's a toxic person that's got to go, whether it's an old habit that you got to kick, whether this is something you got to sell, or maybe a project you got to finish up, all that is best placed under the full moon energy. And that just helps you kind of get that stuff out and get the change to stick. And you don't have to do it on the 3rd either. Just any time right toward the beginning of June is key for that. But don't wait too long, because in the middle of the month, we have that new moon energy that hits on June 18th. And that is the best time to bring new things into your life and to manifest and to bring anything in that you're trying to do, whether it's health related, start something new with health, start a new diet, start a new exercise program. You're trying to attract a new love. Maybe you're trying to attract a new job or a new promotion, or you're just trying to do something new with money. It doesn't matter what it is. Using the new moon energy, it can happen much easier in the middle of the month versus any other time in the month of June. If any of this has confused you, I've put together a moon cycle forecast cheat sheet, and that is available every single month on my website, scottsagent.com, and it kind of shows you a visual aid, little graphic illustration of how these energies move in and out, so you can better utilize positive change, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day, is just making things go a little bit smoother for us. Now, let's get into the gemstone and the new product. Well, there is no new gemstone this month. We're going to take a break. We've just done 5 in a row starting in 2023. Those are all unveiled and available on the website, scottsagent.com, with the write-up sheet, which is very intuitive about what each gemstone does and how it can be properly used, and the new product. Now that I have to tell you about, because we are kicking off the gemstone again in July. It's coming back. We're going to drop a new one in July. But here in June, I have such a big product that I'm unveiling. That's why I decided to step away from the gemstone for a month. So the new product is a combination of actually 2 products. And I've been talking about this for my people for a very long time now. So this won't come as a surprise to everybody. But it's called a My Month Deluxe. It first takes my most popular product that I've ever put together, the My Month product. It talks all about your month, about that 30-day window that's being read for, so it's a nice little batch of divination there, very affordable for your month. The other thing that it's going to be combined with is already a set of 2 readings. It's an angel protection and animal totem package. It's angel protection and it's animal totems all combined in one. So now it's kind of like 3 readings in one we're doing here. It is a huge hit of divination, all in one package, one very affordable package when we kind of bundle it all together. And that product is going to be called a My Month Deluxe. It is available right now on the website, scottsagent.com. And guess what? If you're signed up for the newsletter, you're going to get a free one of these in June. Check your newsletter. It gives you instructions on how to do that. You're going to get a follow-up wonderful coupon for anything you buy after that. And oh my gosh, if you're not signed up for the newsletter, why haven't you? I give my newsletter people, I take great care of them, and I give them a couple free readings every single year just by being signed up to the newsletter. You can sign up for that at the very bottom of any page on scottsagent.com. And now let's get back to your reading. Okay, Gemini, I am back and we are ready for story 3. The first thing that comes in that they're using as your connection card here is if any of you Geminis have been really confused, not knowing which way to go, or a decision between 2 things. Should I go left? Should I go right? Should I buy this house? Should I not buy this house? Should I stay at my job? Should I go for a new job? This is a crossroad type thing, fork in the road. If you've been kind of really not sure or a little confused, driving a little blind about which way to go about something, this could very well be you here in story 3 with me. Now they show, the good news is that they show that this here has not been like overly stressing you out. Stress maybe a little bit, anxiety maybe a little bit, but not over the top, okay? It's not like you're losing sleep over this, so that's good at least. So we want to keep that where it is, okay? Don't let it get out of hand. The next thing they show here is overcoming difficulty. So a lot of you are working on solving problems. A lot of problem solving stuff going on here for my Geminis in the month of June. It says in the card that the worst is now behind you and you're surmounting any previous challenges. And that may be why you're a little confused, because you've maybe surmounted something, overcome something, and now you're like, well, now what's next? Or what do I do with this now that I'm at this point? Okay, so it's kind of you're at this next phase, you're at this next like point in the graph, and like, well, which way am I going to go here? So the next thing they show here is a little bit of advice. They show really eye on the prize with goals, with seeing things very clearly, and it's really a key to focus in on the beginning of the month of June, which happens to be full moon energy. So I'm glad I told you pay attention to new moon, because now I'm going to tell you to pay attention to the full moon. This is getting stuff out of your life, guys, and if you have to get something out of your life, they're saying, hey, you need to eyeball this. Okay, if you go back to look at the cards, my overhead, the woman is pointing at her eyes. They're saying you can see this. You see what you need to do. So you actually have all the answers yourself. I don't need to tell you. Spirit doesn't need to tell you. You already know what to do here. It's just a matter of like eyeballing it, identifying it, and then doing it. Now they do show here that there is a hoarding going on, but this is my weird hoarder in this deck that they chose to use for my Geminis. This is kind of like hanging on to something for too long and you really got to let it go. However, it really affects your heart. Okay, so it is maybe a love corner thing. Maybe it's about somebody that you love. Maybe it's about something that you love, or just anything close to your heart really that you have an attachment to. But it's really time to let this go. And that is full moon energy, and we already told you that that's the beginning of June. So they're giving you a nice little timeline of what to do here for getting things out of your life here in story 3, especially if you're my confused Geminis about what to do. So something's got to go. Now you just have to figure out what that is. And it ends very well, because the last thing they show is an event. So a lot of my Geminis here in story 3 are going to some kind of event sometime in June. I'm not sure what part of June that is. They don't really tell me. It feels more like middle to early to me. I don't think that would come in late, but that part is just a guess. Okay, I'm just speculating based on what the position that it's in. It's kind of coming up like that. But this is an event that is something to be celebrated. Maybe it's small, maybe it's large, but an event is an event. And for some of you, they're even letting me know it's work related. So that's something very interesting there for my story 3 folks. Now, before we get into your telling time, I need to grab a runestone for you guys while I'm looking at all these cards. So give them a quick swirl. They're already shuffled up. And here we go. Gemini rune for June. This is the rune of separation. Separation. It sounds a little familiar. I wonder if we've done this for Gemini before recently. But what they're doing here is they're saying separate here. Put a little space between something. Separation. Now that is a big story 3 thing, because they're talking about holding on to something for too long here. Now that is separating yourself from something that has heart cordage, heart ties to you. And there's also separation in story 1, even though story 1 was about bringing things in and manifesting. It was also about getting rid of these bonds, these things that hold you down, and how easily you can do that. So Spirit, once again here, I do believe I'm going to go back and look and figure out how many in a row this has been for Gemini, or what the frequency is of this here, because this does feel extremely familiar to me. So we have separation right there for Gemini, and that's a good runestone to kind of back up a lot of the content that we talked about in your spread. So how many cards did I use before I don't have to reshuffle for telling time. That's the good news. I didn't use more than my 10 of my regular tarot cards. That's kind of my limit. So we're good to run it just like it is. I don't have to reshuffle or anything like that. It's good news. So telling time, like I told you, it is available as a personal product on scottsagent.com. If this is for the whole sign. So let's say this is cool, but you want something more tailored to you, specific, personalized just to you. All of my products are that way. scottsagent.com, a wide variety of them, and I also have telling time, like what we're doing here. Now, what I'm doing here is in rounds, and I'm looking for dates. And if they give me a date in the first round, that just tells us how relevant and important it is. It would basically be like, hey, you cannot miss this for the life of you. It's just that important. And so far, we don't have any dates, but we do go multiple rounds if we don't have a date this first go through. So let me finish with that before I get too ahead of myself. And no, we do not have any that round. Now we go, the energy just gets a little lighter. So instead of talking about a week, now they could be talking about a couple weeks to a month. So let's go through this round and see if we have a date from Spirit. And then next round, if we get there, and And we do. So this becomes a couple months. So Spirit is saying, hey, we don't want to give you a week. We don't want to give you a month. We want to wrap this around like a quadrant here. This is a couple months of a window here that they want to tell you. So let's go this round. And if we don't have a date this round, we go backwards in time. That gets very interesting. That doesn't happen very much. So let's see what we get here. And then go accordingly. We do have our date. We got it on the last card, actually, interesting enough. So now on that one, I need to attack on time first. 1, 2, 3. I need to see what it's about. Let's throw that over there. And an angel card to talk about what it's about. So I'm going to calculate that real quick for you. That I will cut away for, so you don't have to watch me do math, but I'll be right back. Okay, Gemini, I am back with your date. Interestingly enough, this date is the day after Christmas. But like we said, Spirit didn't say, hey, a week, a month. They said a couple months here. So what we want to do is we want to basically say that starting the end of the year, end of 2023, going into early 2024. Let's call it December, January. Nice little window there, a couple of months. What is this about now? What did they give us this date for? What is so important they want to talk about? Well, there's something here that is being blocked out that they cannot tell you a lot about information-wise. There is a different definition of this card. I'm going to give you both in a general reading. So this one way would be like information that we just cannot access right now. But there's something late in this year that you guys are going to be extremely sensitive towards. Extra sensitive energies and emotions right now. So they want you to honor yourself, others, and your feelings towards it. So they're letting you know you're going to be really hyped up at the end of the year, early next year. Why? They can't tell you right now. At least that's that version of the definition. Maybe it's something that if they did tell you, it just wouldn't benefit you by knowing it right now. But they're letting you know to expect a major event by the end of this year, early next year, that you just aren't aware of right now. Now, the other definition, I told you there is two. A lot of you here could be learning something brand new. This is like my college type energy, learning something, a new trade, a new craft, something that you've never learned before. This is, as you can see, a completely different definition, but that's tarot for you. So if that's something you've been thinking about doing, this is a great window for you, Geminis, to really get serious about learning something new, whatever this is, and to really decide and to go all in and to commit towards it, to the fact that they wanted to give you a telling time for it. Now, like I said, the telling time is available as a personal product on scottsagent.com if this is something you think is interesting and would like a little bit more detail about for just you instead of all of your Gemini friends. So that concludes what has been a very interesting reading for my Geminis. I thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember to like and subscribe so you see the future readings. I do these every single month, and have a great June. I know you will.